What's going on, SC430 community? My name is Henry. Today's video, got another SC430 maintenance repair attempt video. So today I have another SC430 from the Lexus SC430 Club of Phoenix, Arizona. So shout out to Richard. I'm going to be working on his SC today. This, I can't remember what year, it's a second gen. This SC430 is a 2006 SC430 in the Matador Red or the Pearl Red. I can't remember. I think it's Matador, however you say it. It's 72,000 miles, so very, very low, very new. And it looks very, very clean. Obviously, the inside's kind of beige, so there is some darkening of it, which isn't really a big problem because there's no really tears. It just needs to be cleaned up and then use the clay bar, I believe. But anyways, this video, he came to me in regards to hoping to fix his convertible, because as you can see, the convertible is down. The problem is it won't go back up. So we are going to attempt to fix it. So yeah, so his SC430, the convertible is stuck down, and obviously he wants it back up. We think, because we did diagnose it together, that it's possibly the motor to the package tray. So we're going to swap it out with the extra one that I have from my parts car SC430 and hope that that would fix the issue. So I'm gonna show you how to do that and the process of me figuring it out, and hoping that that's what the problem is, because getting the convertible fixed costs a lot of money if you take it to a mechanic, even if it's a dealership mechanic or an independent mechanic, just because they're not familiar with the SC430, so it does take them a lot longer to diagnose, so they will overcharge to compensate the time and effort that they put in. I don't do that, obviously, because that's a bunch of bullshit in my opinion, and it shouldn't cost that much to be able to do a fix that, when you find out how to do it and what part needs to be replaced, it doesn't cost that much. So I don't know exactly how much I'm going to charge Richard for doing this job. It really depends. If it is just that package tray motor, then obviously it's going to be super cheap, including to buy the part off of me. Otherwise, if it ends up being more than that, then we're gonna be a little bit of a hole. But hopefully it's just a package tray motor, because it's only 72,000 miles, so it's weird for it to have convertible problems already, because on all my SC430s that I have, I've not once had any convertible issues. I think the only time I had convertible issues is just because of, I think the trunk struts went out, and the package tray like sensor wasn't functioning properly. So, but yeah, I'm gonna show you what I mean by the convertible not working. So I'm gonna start the car up just so we can mimic it as best as we can. So there you go, 72,400 miles, very, very low for a 20-plus-year-old car. So obviously, convertible is down. So obviously we're going to hit close. And there you go. That's as far as it's gonna go. It doesn't do anything else, because once it hits that position, the package tray should fold out, and then the hood should start coming back up. But it does not. So we are going to fix that, or at least try to. So we're going to close this back up. And we're going to figure out how to fix it. So package tray is obviously this black piece right there. So we're going to have to take out basically the entire back seat and then see from there if we can reach the motor or if we need to take the package tray out. So we're going to have to figure that out. But I'll turn the engine off for now. I'll create some space by moving my SC430 out the way. And we'll show you how to get things started. Alright, so the tools you're going to need for this is probably a 10mm socket and ratchet. I have a 12 here as well with a small extension just in case. I think there might be a few bolts that are a 12 or a 14. It's one of those. Prying tool to get some plastic fasteners out if we need to, and then a pick just in case as well. We're going to be replacing basically this motor right here. It's basically right underneath where the camera is standing at right now, dead center of the package tray. So hopefully this works. I tested this motor specifically and it does spin, but we don't know if this will be the actual probable cause of the package tray not working, but we can only assume. So that's why we're going to try this guy and see if that works. So we're going to start by removing this piece. We're going to do the headrest. So this should just pop off. Starting from trying to peel back from the bottom here, and it should just come right off like that. So pay attention to those fastening points. That's why you want to peel it out this way, otherwise you'll break these. They're very, very fragile, so don't do that. And then you're going to see two 10mm bolts. You can either use a 10mm socket to get it out, but the head is very, very small, and it looks like it has been done before, so it's stripped a little bit. But in the case you can't get it off, you can use a it's not a hex, it's the I forget what it's called, but it's like a star pattern bit, and then you'd be able to take it off. Looks like it's pretty dusty down here as well, so I'm gonna use this. These shouldn't be very tight, so I'm assuming that's why it's stripped, because they made it tight for no reason. It is just the wind deflector, so you want to make it tight so it doesn't wobble so much, but you don't want to overdo it, because then you could break the deflector itself, or even break the bolt, or even break the plastic. So let's take this off. You'll notice that it does have some washers in there, paper looking washers, so make sure you don't lose that. That's probably to protect scratching when you're torquing these bolts down. You don't scratch the wind deflector unintentionally. Okay, so then from here this would pop off, so don't move the wind deflector too much, but this is the same concept. Pull from the bottom, it'll pop up going outward. Be very careful, because these tabs will break very easily. This one's already, it's not broken yet, but I can tell it's kind of stretching a little bit. So take that out. Then we have two 10 mils here. This is where you would want to use a deep socket and not a regular 10. These might be very tight because this is connected to the frame, but again, these don't really need to be very tight, but obviously you don't want it to move. Be careful taking the nuts out. You don't want to drop it into the back of the car in between because that would suck to look for. Goes to the side, and then you should be able to just pull the headrest right off. Okay, so now that we got this out, we could basically just do the same thing, but on the other side. And then I went ahead and moved the passenger seat all the way to the front, and then we're gonna have to do the same thing for the front seat as well. So the reason why we're moving the seats all the way forward is just to give us some space to get in here without, you know, bumping into everything and getting our leg caught on stuff. So same thing here, peel from the back, come right off. Got 210s here. Go. So now the wind deflector will come out. Make sure you don't lose the little stand for it. Okay, same thing with this. Pull this back. It'll pop off. Again, being very careful to not snap the very fragile plastic pieces. Okay, so this one is still really good. No bends or anything, so I don't see it cracking anytime soon. And the 10mm nuts. There you go. That comes out. Put those to the side. Now we can get to removing the back seat. So surprisingly, it's very, very easy. Obviously it kind of depends on how much strength you have and how good the seats are fastened in, because the bottom ones, they're literally snapped on with the plastic, so you don't have to be super cautious. You just pull from right at the center until it pops off like that. Boom, done. And then just lift it right up. So move this to the side. And now we are in here. So this is what we're going to take out. So now that I'm looking at it, that's definitely not 12. That's probably 14. Oh, it is 12. Okay, I was wrong. So there's going to be one there, one right there, and one right there. And then when you take it out, make sure to not feed it so the belt doesn't get caught and all that stuff. So let's take this out. Sometimes these are very tight, so that's why I kind of got the extension and a longer ratchet just in case, because sometimes they are very, very tight on there. Because this one, it's the bracket for the seat connects to the frame, so you basically can make it incredibly tight if you need to. But luckily here, wasn't too bad, probably because of the ratchet being a little bit longer. As that comes out, I do notice it is very, very clean back here, so, but it is a little bit dusty, so I can tell that someone was back here at least once. Okay, so now we're gonna take the bottom ones out. go. So when you take it out, it's basically free now. Make sure you feed the seat belt out so it doesn't get caught and break this latch. The purpose of this latch is when you have the convertible down, you're driving on the freeway or whatever, the seat belt isn't flapping around. It'll flap like this if you're driving without that latch covering it to hold it down. So take it out, just get it over the hook like that, and then just stretch the seat belt out and feed it out. Here we are, the back frame of the SC. The motor is right here, so we're gonna try to figure out how to get to it to take it out without taking the package tray out, because in my opinion, I think the package tray does need to come out. Looks like we're gonna need a Phillips head screwdriver, so I'm gonna go grab that. Okay, so I'm only going to take this out just so I can see what's going on behind it. So there's two for each seat belt. So you can see the motor on the inside there. So we'll see what we can do, but it's just inside here. So I'm not sure how flexible this comes off because it feels very stiff, and it might be cracked already from the looks of it, but we'll see, because I know there is some mounting bolts that you have to get to, and I don't know how to get to it without removing the package tray, but we'll see. Two pieces, but there's the cord for it. You might be able to see, there's the cord for the package tray motor. So that's what we're gonna try to replace, because it sits in just like that on the inside. This is a 10. So I'll take this out. It's underneath here, so I don't know if that gives us enough space to get underneath it, or if I need to take out more, because obviously I don't want to break it. There's a mount there, and there's a mount in there. Okay, so maybe we don't need to, but we might need to use a 10 mil ratchet, or I mean a 10 mil wrench. Okay, so got myself a 10 mil wrench here, and then a 10 mil ratcheting wrench, so I'm gonna see if I can get it. But looking at the motor, see there's a mount point right here, so it's gonna be facing like this. So right when I lift it up, it's just right here, and then you got another one top right, so when you have it laid down like this, it's right at this cord, but just behind it. So we're gonna see if I can reach that. Okay, so this is the repair manual exploded view of the components of the convertible, the package tray. This is the piece that we want to take out, and you can see the one bolt in the center we took off, and then it looks like it's held on by two clips. So it looks like we can remove it. It just might take a little bit of effort. So we can use the prying tool and try to pry it out from the edges. So we didn't really have to do this side piece. So I'm going to put that back on, and then we can continue with trying to get this guy off. According to the manual, you're able to pry this piece off from the edge. So I'm going to try to see if I can get it in here, or even maybe feed through here. I'm assuming that's why there's kind of a gap, because Lexus wouldn't make it difficult. They make it pretty easy. because obviously there's the one bolt here. So I'm gonna see if I can pop that open. So I'm gonna start on my side, right here. So maybe I can get it underneath here. It pops up or something. Because obviously you don't want to break it unintentionally here. Just a little bit on the dusty side. Because I don't know, maybe I can do it just by hand. Just lifting from like this. Oh yeah, huh. Oh yeah. Look at that, that's actually way easier than I expected. So, I'll show you how I did that with this side. Basically, fit your hands underneath this and just pull up. It's a metal fastener, and then it's held down by plastic, so that's why it's a little bit on the tougher side. So, let's see if I can get it out. It's definitely a two-hander. Like that. Comes right out. So, then you can see the metal fastener that holds it down into that pink slot, and then this black one right here. And this is the motor we're replacing. Look at that. Way easier to get to than expected. And the dealership mechanic will cost you an arm and a leg when it really isn't that difficult. So let's continue. This was the bolt I was mentioning for the mount. And then there was one right here. This is the one I was struggling to get out. So, and then I think we could just bend this upward to move it out the way, and then disconnect the cables here. I'll undo this. Then out the way. Disconnect this cable. I think you kind of just pull on it if I can remember correctly. Oh no, there's a tab on the inside. Let's do that. There's a tab right here. So I'm assuming you just push this down and it should pop right out or something. Okay, that's really tough. It's coming out very slowly. It'll come out eventually. It's not wanting to. Maybe we can take out these tabs to give us some more space. There's a tab right here. So open this clip up. If it wants to come out or not. There's another clip on this side that holds the cable down. Let's see. So now this thing is just kind of free. I'm sure we can bend this up a little bit. This is probably really tough to bend. So now we can freely get a grab on this. Figure out how to take this guy out. There you go. So to get this out, you lift the tab. You don't push down on the tab. That's what I'm doing wrong. Like that. So now we have the old one here that may be faulty, we don't know. And then we have a replacement one here. So we're gonna swap this back and plug this one in. So to get it in, hopefully it doesn't matter the orientation, because if it does, then okay, so it does just snap in like the other ones. And then we're gonna spin the motor by hand, just so that clip lines up properly. There should be like a hole, maybe, no? Let's see if we can get this in, because I don't see this one like snapping in like the other one did. Not sure. Oh, is it because the cover is different, maybe? Do I have to put this cover on it? I wonder. Let's try and take this thing off. So I removed the cover. There was 2 here and then 2 here, Phillips head. And then when I took it off, this piece came off. And I think this is the piece that we need specifically for this, because I believe this motor is from an 07, but I don't know why the clip is a little different, but maybe I can put this one in and it would work better. I don't know why the motor is a little bit different, but that's okay. As long as we get it to work, that's what matters. So I'm gonna take this out. This one's going to be a little bit on the tighter side. So this comes out. This cover comes off. This is the one that we don't need. We need this one. Goes over just like that, and then put this back on. There you go. Put the screws back in. And the bottom bracket back on. And then we'll put the cable back in and see, and then do a test before we reassemble, and hope that this is the root cause of why the package tray is not working. Otherwise, we have other issues that we need to look at. Okay, now we can try putting this back in, and it should just snap on. There we go. It sounds more promising. Okay, so Now we'll mount this back on, because if we don't and we try to do a test, it's gonna fling everywhere. So we'll put the cable back in its seated position with the clip on. Like that. Right, this was plugged in here like that. Then we'll put the mounts back on. Put this guy in. Right, and then we'll bring this guy down. And then I'll put the bolt in there just to hold it in place, just so it's not dangling around. But because you're supposed to put the plastic frame back and then this bolt, but again, for testing purposes, we are going to do without it just for a moment. Alright, now I got it bent back in place. Everything's plugged in, nothing's dangling, and now we give her a test and hope that that was the problem to our package tray not working properly. All right, the moment of truth. Okay, engine is started, and now let's see if this works. Let's close her up. Looky, looky here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back in business. So, perfect, it works. So there's probably something wrong with that motor. I wouldn't recommend throwing it out because it's probably repairable. So we'll just let the customer keep this one. I will charge them for the part, obviously based on what the market is at right now, and obviously not scam the hell out of them. But for now, we are gonna just let this close or go back to the convertible mode, just so I can have enough space to put everything back together. But yeah, once I get this done, let's start putting things back together. Okay, so let's put things back together. Going back in reverse order. So remember, we did have this guy pop out, so make sure this the metal fastener pops into that plastic and it lines up with the hole. Remember, I did put the frame bolt back on, so we will have to take that out before putting this back in. That. Put this guy back on. Make sure it lines up with the holes. And then, okay, there's a little lip, so we're gonna have to go underneath like this. Then go over. Yeah, like that. Sneak it in there. And then it should pop in. Like that. Pop it right in. And then we can feed this bolt back through. So now that that bolt is back on, it's fastened down on both sides, we can put the back seat part back. Actually, wait, I lied. We probably will need to put this back on. So let's put this back on first. So a wire underneath this gap, and this slid right in. Like that. So you just slide it into the holes, and it looks like it will just kind of fit itself in, doing one side at a time. Because the seatbelt does go over the wiring. And we'll put the Phillips heads back in here. We don't want to tie these you don't have to tie them super tight. It's plastic on plastic, so it's just to sit. So just to tie it just a little bit. And then after we tie this, then we can put the back seat back in. Okay. So we'll feed it through the seat belts like we did last time. It'll be a little difficult just because of the seat belts getting caught on literally everything. So just be patient with it. It does fit. There you go. And then you want to, there's a hook at the top. You want to hook it up onto the threaded piece like that. And then the bolts should line up. So we'll put the seat belts back into its buckle right there. And then we will put the 12mm nuts back on. 12mm nuts and bolts. My bad. So put this back on. We won't tighten it all the way, so we can evenly torque it down. So then do the bottom as well. I'd be covered up because of my leg. And then we will torque them down as even as possible while making it nice and tight so it doesn't move nowhere. That should be good. We don't want it to wobble. Okay, so now that's done. You can move all your stuff down here out the way, and then we can put the bottom piece of the back seat back in. So I moved all my tools out of the way because of the package tray. So I'm gonna put everything back up on the package tray, and then we'll put the back seat in. So putting it in, you want to start going like at an angle and then upward, and then also feed your hand behind to get the buckle, for the back seat buckle out, because obviously you don't want it hidden behind there. So I need to do it for the other side as well, because the buckle is behind here. Hiding me. So then you can feed it down. So once you fit it nice and in, you can just push down, it'll pop in like that on both sides. There you go. Easy. So put that back. Put this back. Back this up. And then we'll move on to the headrest. Okay, so now, remember we're going to start with the front side of the headrest first. Make sure sure you fit it through the holes, and then there's gonna be the two 10mm nuts that hold this in place. Don't go super tight on these, because although it is mounted to the frame of the SC430, the headrest frame itself is plastic, so you don't want to break it. So we'll use our 10 here. Good. That should be good. Now we want to leave it like this, or wait. Then we want to get the back cover. Make sure you grab the right side. It says it on the inside, right hand. I'm on the passenger side, so this is the right hand side. So then, same way going in, at an angle, and then basically make sure these holes line up with this yellow tab, and it'll pop right in. Like that. So then we'll stop here and do the other side. Like that. Tie this down. Like that. Put that back cover. Back cover, same thing. Make sure you use the right side. This is the left hand side. So we're on the driver's side. This in like that, and now next up we will put the wind deflector. So make sure you see the Lexus wording. It's going to be facing backwards, so we'll line it up like that, and then you'll get your 10mm bolts here, fasteners. Make sure it has the paper looking washer on it, and then put these in. We're gonna hand tighten for now, and then do the other side to hand tighten. So this one has the paper one that fell off. And then don't forget this guy that goes underneath. It goes underneath here to hold it up straight. So you want to tie these in diagonally. So start with the bottom corner and the top corner on the other side, then bottom corner on that side, and then the top corner on this side. And again, you don't need to go super tight. You just need to make it tight enough so that it stays in place. Make sure you use the right side. Should be labeled on the inside, right here, right hand side. So the same thing with this one. You see these hooks right here? You want to go in underneath that and then pop it into this. And then it should be like that. Nice and easy. Done. And there you guys have it. Everything is put back together as it should. You guys have it. That's how you replace the package tray motor. If your convertible only goes up so far and the package tray isn't moving, it's probably going to be the motor, and or of course you got to grease the motors and stuff. But luckily this case it happened to be just the package tray motor itself, so that makes, you know, the cost of having to diagnose and fix it a lot cheaper if you're able to do it yourself. Luckily with this one it's not very difficult. So now, as you can see, we have a fully functioning convertible again. It had only took me a few hours. It would have been a lot less if I wasn't recording, and if I, you know, knew exactly what to take out. But obviously this was kind of a learning experience. But there you guys have it. Everything's back together. We have our convertible now. Richard's gonna be very happy because now he can drive his convertible up or down on command without having to worry about anything in case it like rains or something, right? But yeah, there you guys have it. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.